Chapter 36. Sky blinked slowly. Ben carried me? I remember, shooting, the world going sideways. I could tell I was lifted. Bits and pieces of movement. Ernie shuddered. You were so damn limp. The look on his face when he scooped you up. I thought you were gone. Sky squeezed his hand. I'm still here. Ernie squeezed back. He leaned in carefully, mindful of her ribs, and hugged her. Sky rested her forehead against his chest and breathed out. Ernie. I need you to help me put the vest back on. It'll stabilize my ribs. And we can't spare anyone for babysitting duties. Once that's done and I'm covered, you can help me upstairs. Ernie hesitated. You sure? Listen, if something happens, I want you to get down to the facility below here. The elevator's in the hall closet. Place your palm on the right side, your codes will work. Take the dogs. When you get in there, check the camera feed on the computer. Make sure everyone's in the barn. Once confirmed, start Emergency Protocol 1. Sky frowned. Ernie? What about you? He shook his head. I need you to promise me, Sky. You're not fully capable of doing anything right now. I don't. I can't function unless I know you and everyone else are safe. I don't want you worrying about me. Sky squeezed his hand again. I promise, Ernie. But I'm going to worry about you. That I can't promise. Ernie picked up the vest and gently helped her into it, then slid a t-shirt over her head. Sky breathed a little easier. What does Emergency Protocol 1 do? It locks down the houses of the ones who haven't arrived yet. Locks me out of the system. Locks down all the underground facilities so they can't find them, but no one can leave either. All extra supplies get moved underground. It's a massive setup. And when I say launch truck protocol, that'll lower the truck and the general into the facility garage next to the barn. He didn't ask, he just scooped her up again and headed toward the stairs. He paused by the closet where the elevator was hidden, only 5 feet from her door. Then he paused again at her bed, pulling her closer for one more second of reassurance. Sky squeezed him. I'm okay. I promise to do what you asked. But I need you to promise you won't go get yourself killed. I need you here. I wouldn't know what to do if anything happened to you. Ernie swallowed. If it does, in the bottom drawer under the computer, there's a folder. Everything you need to run this place. I'm just sorry I never got to show you the whole thing. He didn't promise. He couldn't. But he rested easier knowing she'd be safe. Sky noticed he didn't promise, but she didn't call him on it. He squeezed her one last time and lowered her onto the bed. I'll be down the hall if you need me. I'll let Fred and Ben know you're awake. Ernie, Sky whispered. I love you too. I just needed you to know. Ernie paused. His throat worked. The words were foreign to him, heavy, unfamiliar, and all he could get out was, me too, kid. Sky felt the truth of it in her chest. Men like Ernie didn't get to say those words much. She just hoped he survived what was coming. If the threat gets neutralized, he added, reverse emergency protocol. She heard him on the radio as he walked down the hall. Ernie, breathing easier than he had all morning, set himself to do one more thing before finishing up. He clicked the radio. Fred, Ben, come to the house in 20. Ben, copy. 20. Fred's radio clicked once. Ernie stepped into his room and powered on the monitors. He typed quickly, Phoenix. Mansion. Shelter A, Shelter B, Shelter C. It was all he had time for. Phoenix came online first, 36 confirmed life forms. Familiar faces. Worn out, but alive. The governor's mansion loaded next. Empty. His stomach tightened, until the shelter feed blinked on. 53 confirmed life forms. The women and children from the school. Tired, but steady. Shelter A, shambling figures. 0 life forms detected. Shelter B, sealed. No life forms detected. Either they didn't make it, or they weren't there yet. Shelter C, a small family eating at a table. He'd given them more than they could afford back then. Now it was the reason they were alive. It wasn't perfect. Not everyone made it. But some did. And that had to be enough. Ernie shut the system down and headed toward the living quarters. Letty was sipping coffee in the kitchen. Fred stepped in first. He'd been closer. Ernie didn't hesitate. He placed a hand on Fred's shoulder. She said what you taught her helped. Thank you. The barn, door at the end. Hand to the right. The codes I gave you and Letty will open the elevator. Get yourself, Letty, and the soldiers there. On my command, take them down to the facility under there. And Fred, if anything happens to me, keep her safe. Fred searched Ernie's face. You have my word. She did damage. I checked the body myself, knee damage, nerve cluster, broken ribs. Letty's hand flew to her mouth. Fred hadn't done a body check in years, but he'd done it now, for Sky. Ernie nodded, hand still on Fred's shoulder. Fred muttered, you could have trained her yourself, Master Sergeant. He placed his hand on Ernie's shoulder in respect. I could have, Ernie said. But she asked you. Staff Sergeant. That means something. Fred looked shocked. How did you know? I knew who you were the second I saw you, Ernie said. You just don't remember me. Fred frowned. Remember you from where? Ernie chose his words carefully. Afghanistan. Outside Sanjin. You were pinned down on the South Ridge. Fred's eyes narrowed. We lost 2 men that day. I know, Ernie said quietly. But you didn't lose the rest. Fred stared. There was a shot, one clean shot. Took out the guy on the ridge. Saved our flank. We never saw who fired it. You weren't supposed to, Ernie said. Letty's breath caught. Fred swallowed. That was you? Ernie didn't confirm. Didn't deny. I watched how you handled your men. How you kept them moving. How you didn't freeze. That's why I trust you now. Fred's voice dropped. Master Sergeant, you didn't have to tell me that. I know. But I'm trusting you with Sky. You deserve to know why. Fred straightened. Then you know I won't fail her. I do, Ernie said. That's why I picked you. Now go on before the big man shows up. And Fred, this stays between us. He squeezed Fred's shoulder and headed for the kitchen. Letty watched him as he poured coffee. He gave her a small wink. Fred stopped at Sky's door. He took in her bruised face. The breath he'd been holding finally left him. He stepped up to the bed, didn't sit, just watched her breathing. Sky blinked up at him. Thank you. What you taught me helped. I was stunned when he hit me, but the training kicked in. You did good, Fred said. Checked the body myself, knee damage, nerve cluster, broken ribs. On top of what the dogs did. As if steadying himself, he placed 2 fingers gently on her shoulder. Sky smiled faintly. I love you too, Fred. Fred's breath caught. His eyes went wide. From downstairs, Ernie's voice drifted up, dry as dust. Welcome to the club, soldier. Fred huffed. And nodded back at her. Sky knew that right now, that was all he could give and it was enough. He just went over to the wall leaning against it with his arms crossed watching her breath. The front door opened downstairs. Ernie and Letty stood in the open concept kitchen, coffee in hand, both with a perfect view of the bottom of the stairs. The landing. Sky's open bedroom door. And Fred's silhouette inside the room. Fred stayed leaned against the wall near Sky's bed, arms crossed, calm as ever. On the outside. Inside? He was already calculating exits. The boots hit the first step. Thump. Fred's eyebrow twitched. Second step. Thump. Fred thought, oh great. Here we go. Incoming emotional catastrophe. Third step. Ernie took a sip of coffee. Fourth step. Fred muttered under his breath, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Fifth step, the landing. Ben appeared. All 6'7" of him. Shoulders tight. Jaw locked. Eyes wild with worry. A whole emotional avalanche climbing the stairs. Fred saw him. Ben saw Sky. And Fred's brain went. Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. I am about to emotionally eject myself out that window. Ben stepped into the doorway, and froze. Completely. Like someone had unplugged him. His breath left him in one hard exhale. Kid, his voice cracked. You're awake. Sky opened her mouth, but Ben wasn't done. I thought, his jaw clenched. I thought I lost you. He didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. He was a giant statue of panic and relief. And that was Fred's cue. Fred muttered, louder this time, oh hell no. I'm not staying in here. Not with whatever that is. He pointed at Ben with 2 fingers, a quick, sharp gesture of pure nope, then turned, walked 3 steps, unlatched Sky's window, and climbed out with the smooth, practiced efficiency of a man escaping a live grenade. He dropped onto the porch roof, slid down the gutter, and landed in the yard with a grunt. Letty and Ernie watched through the kitchen window. Letty, he really just. Ernie, yup. Fred dusted off his hands, walked around to the front door, opened it, stepped inside, and shut it behind him like he'd just come back from checking the weather. He walked straight into the kitchen. Ernie lifted his mug. Smart move. Fred poured himself coffee. Nope. Not being in that room. Not today. Not with that. Letty didn't even look up from her mug. You're rattled. Fred froze mid-sip. No, I'm not. Letty, Fred. I heard her. And I know you. Fred, I'm fine. Letty, you climbed out a window. Fred, tactical exit. Letty, Fred leaned against the counter, sipping his coffee like this was just another morning. Upstairs, Ben was still frozen in the doorway, staring at Sky like she was the only thing holding the world together.